All right. Gonna look at number 2 on homework 2A. Now, this one is actually pretty darn easy, but it does take a lot of writing, so it's one of those problems. Right? This is gonna take up a lot of space. Suppose the tern, okay, so a bird, travels 1.70 times 10 to the fourth kilometers per second, only to encounter bad weather. Instead of trying to fly around the storm, the tern turns around and travels 6.00 times 10 to the second kilometers north to wait out the storm. It then turns around again immediately and flies 1.44 times 10 to the fourth kilometers south to Antarctica. What are, notice that's plural, what are the tern's average speed and velocity? So you got two things you got to do here, speed and velocity, if it makes this trip in 122 days. Okay, so a couple things I have here. Now, my first delta x, 1.70 times 10 to the fourth kilometers south. Cool? My second little jaunt from my tern, 6.00 times 10 to the second kilometers. But this one is north. My third delta x is going to be 1.44 times 10 to the fourth kilometers, and this one is going south again. Okay. I also have a delta t because this trip happens in 122 days. Okay. Now, if I'm going to find out the average speed, I'm not going to use the directions. Okay, I'm not going to use south, then north, then south. It's total distance traveled for speed. Total distance traveled. So my total distance traveled is going to be delta x1 plus delta x2 plus delta x3. That's my total distance traveled. Fair enough? Once I get this sum right here, I'm going to divide it by time, which would be 122 days. Fair enough? You guys see my strategy here? So, let's add. I have to start writing kind of small here to make it fit. All divided by 122 days. Now, when you add all of these up, that's going to give you. I'm going to run out of space. I do that. Whatever. The total distance traveled is going to be 3.20 times 10 to the fourth kilometers. Again, divided by 122 days. And that is going to be 262 kilometers per day. Now I'm going to use three significant figures, and my units are, in fact, kilometers per day. And so I've done one part of this problem, average speed. Next, I need to do velocity. Now this one is going to be the exact same approach as I've done here, except now I'm going to actually use some sign conventions. Right? My initial direction was south, then went north, then south again. So my initial displacement, I'm going to actually make this a negative because it's going south. I'm going to make this a negative because it's also going south. And this middle term will remain positive because it's north. Could you assign it the other way? Yeah. You could make north negative if you wanted, as long as you were consistent throughout the entirety of your calculation. But general convention is that north is positive, south is negative. Okay? So when we do this and calculate a displacement as opposed to a distance traveled, we come up with not 3.20, but 3.08 times 10 to the fourth kilometers. Again, divided by 122 days. And that is going to give me 252 kilometers per day. But now, since I'm talking about a velocity, I need direction. And overall, that's going to be south. And those are my two answers.